the Seer and Perfumer, and wow, Hanzo bring out the big guns right away, going for the Violinist here at Arms Factory. In Articuno, we have seen the Violinist.
It's the same prowess Violinist we saw during day one.
Hanzo trying to sniff out some ciphers, moving over there at 3 pallet. Now moving over to, I believe this is No Man's Land, trying to still find the right target. The mech was gone, and that is actually a really good ban in terms of how the survivors played it out. Now moving is rotating to a factory, and I do have to commend how VX is really just on their toes, not really running into the hunter in any way. You see Synchros there realizing that the hunter is onto him, jumps right into factory, and the chase is now on Articuno.
Yes, sir. Synchros is in a fairly good position. So, I mean, we've seen a lot of these survivors capitalize on how Arms Factory has been optimal to buy time, just because of the full roundabouts that this hunter has to go in the midst of these chases.
True. Now Synchro is shifting over to the factory exit. That pallet was broken. Moving over to water tank here. Not much real estate to work with. He's going to have to go for that pallet. Now it is a foot race before he gets the hit. Excellent use of the owl. And now Synchros dropping the pallet, and the chase is now progressing as the ciphers in the lower left side are moving. Hanzo is still not going to be deterred, still setting his sights on this Seer, and the Seer going to try his best to kite as long as possible for his team to find, just to let that cipher rush keep going.
Right. And okay, there you go. Luckily, managed to catch out Synchros here. Tight spot, granting Hanzo the opportunity to land a hit. Looks like he is trying to look for the second one. So looking out for the skill shots, hoping to find that landing. A little bit of a tricky struggle though, because of how well Synchro has been managing not only kite, but those very subtle side steps that you can see. And I think the fact that we only have 3 ciphers remaining from the side of VX, and it's still Hanzo laser focused on Synchros this whole time. Okay, there we go. He has fallen straight smack in front of a rocket chair as well. But you know what? Mission accomplished for Synchros. That was a lot of time on at the end of the day.
Yeah, and also to come in Hanzo using that blink just to really close out the distance. And now he's got to try to keep this Seer in this rocket chair. And as you see there, Hanzo using the skill shots to try to disrupt Cypher Rush. And you can see one of the survivors is trying to sneak his way in there. I believe that's Joseph XD as the mercenary. Priority saved, and now he's just sneaking his way. Hanzo sniffing something in the air that something is up. One person is making his way because the halfway mark is almost there. And there it is. Oh wow, again, this is one of the strengths of the Violinist, his amazing camping, and look at that, gets the Seer out in that scramble.
Yes, sir, really. Hanzo still committing, but of course, going for the setup first up. And just waiting for Synchros over there to reach that moment of a fall, and there we go. Synchros down once again. This will be his second time on the rocket chair though, so the stars are still looking pretty good for VX as far as the alignment to get the heftier numbers out of that gate.
That's true. Second time in the chair, bought a lot of time, and look at the ciphers that are left. One cipher is left, and now moving attention back to water tank to try and just widen his scope and his field of vision with where these hunters are going to be approaching the Seer. And it looks like it might be the Gravekeeper because he did do that burrow. Now Capcom making sure he's able to save, and he does. And look at that, the skill shot is going to be used. Oh wow, he sniped out the Gravekeeper. Excellent body block there, and the Seer is still running for his life.
Yes, sir. Really love the setup coming in from Hanzo, in which case I love the forethought that he's been putting out in the midst of making sure that he has control over the terrain that he's playing around here, going up against VX. But nice timing on that pop. VX had that perfectly planned out. But the big question here is Synchros. He's still in a bit of trouble. He has this third life of sorts, right? That fourth, if you think of it. But I love how Hanzo is continuing to use on him, because it would be rather tricky if he decides to try to go for anybody else except the Seer, since there's one more rocket chair attachment onto Synchros, and it's already a good done deal. That guarantees Hanzo at least one survivor off.
Ooh, excellent owl once again. And look at that. A gravekeeper and a mechanic. As you mentioned, a seer being banned is a very it's a very formidable ban because of how effective
for a lot of the other available options. So yeah, really looking forward to seeing this again. We're in the second half of game one, guys. Godjay can show us what he has, while 7H, of course, not going to allow themselves to get it. We'll just play as Godjay. We can handle this.
Godjay finding that mechanic doll, trying to close out the distance with this. I believe this is the the priestess, the mechanic, sorry, and drops another doll. He's not gonna have that much real estate, not much resources to work with.
Yeah, that's definitely a good start here for Godjay. At least he doesn't have to worry too much about some heavy rushes that couldn't come off of 7H here. But yeah, Godjay is just going straight at it. I love the rotations coming in, which is really putting pressure on these ciphers.
Yep, now changing his sights to the priestess, Himawara. Excellent juke there, but then Godjay able to cut corners there and able to get that swipe out of the priestess. Now the priestess moving her attention and rotating towards factory. Hopefully there's no one working on a cipher there on the side of 7H. Excellent pallet drop, and the priestess continues the chase.
Oh man, this is really good for Godjay. Already getting earlier swipe onto this priestess. Instantly just takes away the portal and proceeds as normal. There you go. Mirror image will be popped up. Lovely pincer once again. These bloody queens, I'm telling you, Koch. Man.
Yeah, beautiful stuff on Godjay's part. Vintage, I would say, Bloody Queen. Getting that pincer, getting that sandwich, really cornering the priestess, and now gets to the rocket chair. Now, who will get into the rescue duty now? Wanted Order sees the mechanic. Nenozatep over here trying to push the ciphers going, but Godjay just cleaning up the real estate so no one really has any pallets to work with. SPST is the mercenary, so he will try to just close out that distance body block to just stop the movement of the mercenary, and now the priestess is out of the chair.
Oh man, good timing on Godjay getting that hit before the priestess could get a pallet down to hopefully have held him, but fortunately that won't be the case, in which case priestess will just try to do what she can to establish as much distance as possible. Godjay, of course, looking for those swipes, knowing very well that it's guaranteed that he can get hold on this priestess, and second time on the rocket chair.
Yep. Now the Golf is over there in the vicinity, so he might be on rescuing duty. Second time playing musical chairs is this priestess, and now Wanted Order is seeing the gravekeeper that is Golf that is nearby the area. Nenozatep, I think, on healing duty, healing up the mercenary. Still a lot of resources to work with. The priestess, this is her second time in that chair. The Golf really has to double time if you want to try to get her out of it. And now the Bloody Queen was able to get Golf out of that burrow stance.
Oh, there you go. Nice swipe coming from Godjay once again as the rescue comes in. I like how 7HS is continuing to rotate between different members. It's like different duties of the guard in order to get the rescue on this priestess. But I am really worried at this point in time. Nonetheless, mission accomplished by this priestess. This will be the third time towards the rocket chair, but you also have to comment on the flip side just how much progress 7H has been making towards making sure that these ciphers are correct. So it won't be a priestess going down in vain. That was a lot of time bought. Still a lot that 7H can bank on at this point, even with the absence of one of their survivors now.
Exactly. Double down on the priestess part. Now it is up to the 3 survivors that's left to push the objective for them to get out of this compound. Now Godjay has his sights set on Golf, I believe, the gravekeeper. Now drop the pallet on her. Able to get that stun now, trying to transition to the shack area. Golf still on the hot foot of this Bloody Queen, while Nenozatep and the rest of the team try to go for Cypher. His excellent blink, and now he gets that hit in the middle of that process.
Yeah, I'm actually, like, just a side note here, the number of whacks that Godjay has been getting on these survivors, I'm really looking forward to seeing the in-game stats, because it almost feels like as though not a minute will go by without Godjay landing a smack on any one of these survivors for 7H. But still, managing to find Ninozatev right there, one of the ciphers right in the nick of time right there, just so that Ninozatev doesn't have to worry about going back there, and will instead just trying to make sure that he tries to kite out this God J, but no, the hit will come in once again. The precision is real with this Hunter, as God J gladly takes yet another piece of this fray to the rocket ship.
Yeah, Ninozatev had the right idea going into that factory. God J utilizing the token of this Mother Queen to perfection, and now unfortunately the basement is a factory, so this rescue is going to be a little harder. I feel like it's Golf that's going to be doing this. And now switching over to Peepers, interesting choice here, and excellent one actually, so he can monitor the basement as she tries to go and hunt and stop the Cypher rush from happening, because actually, the Cyphers have already been popped, and now God J is on the hunt because the tension is now attracted.
Yeah, I mean, a rescue attempt at this point would be very tricky since they did decide to go for their pop. You know what? It's only round one. They don't have to the Bloody Queen still. Now with one less problem. That was not an Ariana Grande reference, by the way, but with one less problem, this could allow God J to reap better results than the 2-2 that he did in round one. But you know what? We'll just have to find out as we're heading into the first half of round two here at Game 1 at IVC Southeast Asia, ladies and gentlemen. Let's
God J going to bottom broken, top broken, seeing Golf right away, and now is going to try to just get an early down here, but it is a Merc, so God J being very gutsy, chasing a Merc early on, because the Merc can break your ankles with those elbow pads. Realizing that, tries to cut corners here and tries to go for it, and excuse me, that was actually the back gate. Now shifting his attention to Ninozatev over here at the church. The priestess being very tricky to deal with in the real estate that the church presents.
Yeah, interesting transition here. Coming in from the mercenary. Mira will be popped up though, trying to look for those. But Godfrey, unfortunately, not able to get a pincer, and just instead decides to make the swap just so that he could try to get into closer quarters on this.
Oh, excellent pallet drop here by Ninozatev over at the graveyard, one of the best hiding areas in the map for survivors. Now, again, God J using the mirror to his advantage as the rest of 7H tries to push the ciphers. One has already popped, while the priestess is trying to contain the thunder as long as she can. The blink is coming out and
Yeah, nice flick coming in there from God J. I mean, I think at this point in time, it really was of necessity to have tried to make something, because 7H has all the right cards going on right now. Ninozatev doing a great job at maximizing the graveyard to keep God J preoccupied, but looks like God J has enough. He's going to try to pincer in his priestess once again. It actually succeeds down that priestess though, and finally God J is marking a first rocket here to tap on for this priestess. But that still goes to say, 3 ciphers remaining. 7H has been making excellent progress in this game so far.
Yeah, God J really using that pincer technique to perfection, or how she was able to halt that priestess from transitioning to any other real estate to work with in the church. Now, God J utilizing that very image once again just to swipe away any of those survivors. Call forward for the save. Tide Turner will go into effect now, and it's back to Ninozatev. How long can he be able to fight? Excellent holy king usage by the priestess.
Oh man. This is great though. Again, playing around this area, just spelling problems for God J so far. But you know what? He is hellbent and intent on continuing the chase. Great idea by going for this pincer here. Actually manages to land the smack without needing to utilize this mirror image to just close in onto target. And there you go. That will be the second scrap.
Yeah, and if you guys know, the pure dungeon was there at top broken, so God J just putting that in his mental notes, just making sure that there's going to be an end game, and that's where everyone's going to be going to. Now SPST as the first officer. Wow, excellent hit on the mercenary with that mirror image. SPST utilizing the pocket watch. It's going to be a tough time for Godjay to be able to save. He has to make a guess now. Oh, he hits the first officer, and that priestess is out of there, but there is a tide turner in effect, Articuno.
Yes, sir. Ah, man. This is really interesting. Okay, we'll drop it. There we go. The last effort will also come in, though. SPST is in the vicinity. That's 2 members down for 7H. But you know what? It's all good. 7H had that Cypher ready to go. Everybody's up and kicking. We can still see a potential 4-man escape come out of 7H. But the pincer actually manages to land Nenu's attempt. And that will be the 3rd time on the rocket chair. This is good, efficient time for Godjay. Getting this priestess down early on, knowing that this will be the 3rd time, will instantly allow him to turn his attention to go for another survivor. And there you have it. Goes towards the gate. And 7H, of course, already has the forethought of trying to evade Godjay as soon as he made that reposition.
How timely was that teleport? Switching skills right away, not wasting any time. You knew the priestess was gone. Now chasing the mercenary, transitioning. I believe they're making a run for it to get to the red carpet. Now the mercenary heading towards the church, just to alleviate himself from any pressure that Godjay presents. The mirror is still in cooldown, but probably not for long. First officer is almost done with that exit gate. Are they going to make it in time? The mirror is going to be popped, and now Godjay is still on the hunt. Excellent really just get away from the range of sight of Godjay, and now Imawada has another chance here. And how long does it last? And another swipe will be made as the lower left side here says that the mercenary is at the back gate exit.
Oh man, that is unfortunate for 7H. All fairness, though, it does look like they might end the 2-2 once again. Yeah, that will be the case. They will just call for the 2-2 again instead of risking a which case. Okay. Oh, but wait a minute. Godjay took a bit of a while there to get him to a rocket chair, and Mawad was able to shake through.
Oh my goodness, watch out. Able to use the perfume just to confuse the hunter just a little bit. Switches the mirror image. Imawada and gets hit once again. Godjay, that was too close for comfort there. As he was trying to find a rocket chair, Imawada was able to struggle free. You know what, the dungeon was that top broken. Very scary spot. Very interesting matchup. Bloody Queen is going to be banned, and we're going to see a gamekeeper? Excellent.
Say what?
Wow. Okay. Very interesting.
Throughout the entire time I've been casting Identity V, I've only seen Gamekeeper once, if I'm not mistaken. And this was way long ago. So...
Okay. Alright, Hanzo came to play.
Wow.
Gotta watch out for those hooks, ladies and gentlemen, as we introduce the rest of the fray here. Captain with the Acrobat, Joseph XD with the Mercenary, Synchros with the Priestess, and Ling Tian with the very signature forward, and that is who Hanzo is spotting out early on.
Gamekeeper. I'm sorry. I'm gonna try to recover real quick from seeing that this is Gamekeeper. Here we have VX playing around the graveyard area. This is great. Hanzo, though, I think the great thing about this, okay, let's try to put logic into the Gamekeeper pick. What I do like about this is what Hanzo has to work with is he doesn't have to worry about going these long distances. If he could land his skill shots, at least that's a very efficient lap closer that he can maximize in this case to counter the fact that he has to work around these walls in the midst of these chases. But that is such a hard skill shot to land. This is why we don't really see that much Gamekeeper in the first place.
Yeah, so respect to Hanzo using the Gamekeeper, also using the Keepers, but VX really rotating the map well for this Gamekeeper to just keep constantly shifting targets. Now he's going to set his sight on Synchros over at the Shack. Portal is going to be used. Now he's going to go through it and get stunned just a little bit. Synchros is buying so much time for his teammates now. As in the lower left, you can see that Hanzo really went for the late game as he banned the mech. You can see that the team is heavily reliant on rescuing and kiting, so not much prioritized decoding. So Hanzo does have time, but he can't waste too much time and have to start putting some survivors into chairs.
Oh man, this is an interesting development that we're seeing for Hanzo so far. Really playing the patience game here. Gonna propel himself forward in this case. Try to close out some gaps here. What's really interesting though is that with the time that he's been doing, we have been seeing VX kind of put in a position where we see some constant rotations from them as well, based on the movement from Hanzo here. So I guess it's going both ways so far. So far, so good for Hanzo. I guess VX in an interesting position as well. I guess we'll have to see how this works out in the long run, really.
Hanzo now still on the priestess. Excellent drop of the pallets for Synchros. Now at the graveyard here. And now Synchros is going to keep moving these pallets to try to avoid the skill shot of Hanzo. Moving away. Oh, he gets the shot in, and this is what he was looking for. Priestess gets hit for her trouble, and Hanzo has struck first blood. Synchros here just camping in these pallets, making sure that he's not in line of sight of Hanzo's gamekeeper. As the keepers are to be planted, two ciphers have already been popped. And look at that, well-placed kill shot by Bruno. Alright, Hanzo on the board with one survivor down.
Yes, sir. The patience has manifested for Hanzo in the form of this priestess. But take note. Let's go ahead and compare what happened in round two. Hanzo was Hanzo did pretty decent in these chases. I guess the TLDR of what I'm trying to say here is that
Big
even
tackle on the side of again, able to stun Hanzo for so long. Apologies for the interruption. I couldn't help myself. A big save by again.
No, it's totally justified. Ling Tian just swooping in like a hero, getting the crowd control onto Hanzo, as well as the rescue on this priestess. Hanzo knows what his priorities are, will continue the chase, and it's going to bank on just whittling down Synchros here.
And Synchro is still camping at the pallet over here at the back exit. Synchro dropped the pallet. Oh, Hanzo was able to get that out of him. Look at that, another tackle. Gonna buy some time to separate from the priestess, and they did pop the cipher. So the priestess's last effort was to no avail, and Hanzo is at the back, but in terms of putting these survivors in chairs.
Oh man, PX is in total command out here, but Hanzo still has a means of salvaging this game. A little bit of a dizzy spell after following Synchros through that portal. But at this point, the win condition for VX, all they have to do is make sure that they get 3 survivors out of that gate. Hanzo, luckily, was able to land a hit onto Synchros. Will there be enough time for him to go for a second, though, on VX?
And he's able to use the teleport, I believe. No, he's going to walk it. Hanzo able to just close out the distance in the wedding exit. And now, I believe the Acrobat used the skill. Ling Tian is so close to actually getting to the exit. The tension is going to be something to consider. And Hanzo trying to use a skill shot just to keep those survivors away from his prey, which is Synchros. Acrobat mercenary out of there. And look at this Hanzo, I believe. Oh my gosh, the forward trying to make his way to the